Hey folks, welcome to Women's Gaming 10. Today we're going to unbox the box for Ankh, Gods of Egypt. This is specifically the Tomb of Wonders box, which is basically the one that contains all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff that was sent out for the backers for Ankh itself. So we already have a separate video out that covers the base game, everything that goes into it. The link for that is down below, so you can check that out if that's something that you want to see what's in there. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to go through what's inside this box itself. So all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff, which, if I memory serves me correctly, is going to have a whole bunch of upgraded components, as well as perhaps some extra gods and guardians, and other components that you can just sort of like mix and match with the base game itself. So without further ado, we're going to crack into it. Now, from an artwork point of view, aesthetically, this of course is very similar to what we've seen with the other boxes, but it's a pretty striking cover. I like the color scheme. I think it's going to pop a little bit more once we take the shrink off of it. And then once we flip it over, we can definitely see on the back side the extra stuff that we will hopefully get in here. So it looks like we have two of these gods, Sobek and Ptah, a few different guardians, and then there's a whole bunch of different these. I'm assuming these are potentially all guardians. So we're going to see what's happening in here. There's going to be other upgraded components as well. So we're not going to look at what's inside the back of the box. Instead, we can just crack into it and see what's inside. So let's do that right now. All right, here we go. Now we definitely have the shrink off. The color does pop a little bit better now that the shrink is off, and you can get a better sense of the color scheme and aesthetics, and I definitely like the way that this looks. So attractive look so far. Let's now crack into what's inside the box. We get a pretty standard inside of the lid. We get a book of sorts. It's just 2 pages. Let's see. So this tells you that you get the 2 different gods. You get these guardians in there, and yeah, and it looks like some of them have things that might impact sort of like other rules into the game, such as adjacency, interaction, and so on and so forth. So we'll worry about that once we do get through the rule book, but that's what we get as soon as we crack into the box itself. Now this, going by sort of like how Come packages their stuff, is probably going to be the set of minis. So we'll look at this at the very end. So let's move that off to the side. Let's see what we have underneath here. And we get, yeah, okay. So we get these. So these are tokens for the extra gods that comes in, and it looks like we have upgraded version of some of the sideboards that came in the base game itself. So we'll see all of these in a second. Let's take this off without dropping anything. Hopefully, the struggle is real, folks. All right, there we go. So we get the 2 gods for when the 2 gods merge themselves. We have merged with Sobek and merged with the Ptah or Ta card in here. Looks like we get tokens for those 2 different gods as well, and component quality for these is the same that we saw for the rest of the stuff in the base game box. So pretty standard, but overall good, and something that I'm happy with. We have the 2 cards for the gods themselves, and they follow a very similar scheme, and if I remember correctly, they were also in the Divine Offerings box. So if you have that, you will have the upgraded cardboard version of these, which is stock in this one. Now this was in the base game box, but it was sort of like a stock paper, whereas over here we now have a board replacing that. But of course, if you have the playmat, this is on the side of that playmat, so you don't really need this if you have that. But if you don't, this is a pretty good thing to have, because it does look, having sort of like cardboard sideboard next to a main game board does look a bit odd. So this definitely would work better from that point of view. Thickness is decent, not bad. And similarly, we also get the devotion track on the side upgraded as well. Also, you can find this on the playmat, but if you don't have that, this is a nice upgrade to have as well. So those go off to the side. Now There's an insert with the rest of the stuff in here, and it looks like this also has a lid, but right on top of that, something I missed were these set of cards. So maybe we'll start with these. And these are the action cards you can pay for the gods themselves. And I'm just going to quickly show it to you just in case you haven't seen the unboxing for the base game, which I put out earlier, because these are the action cards you have for the different gods. And it's a pretty standard deck from what I remember. So you have these for Sobek here and for Da. So yeah, this is pretty much what we saw in the other one. Stock quality is all right, not too bad. That's that. Now we have the Guardian cards. Let's see. And then on the back side, of course, we still have the artwork related to those. And you have Guardians in levels 1, 2, and 3, and a whole bunch of them. A lot more than what you get in the base game, so that's good. And it looks like, I don't know if this is a Guardian or something else. It says players may agree to include Petsuchos in any game in addition to the regular Guardians, place it in the general supply. So this is somebody you're using on top of the level 1, 2, and 3 Guardians. So maybe there's something fun and unique there. But now we get a whole bunch of new Guardians to play around with. And yeah, so I'm not going to go through all of these individually, but just want to give you guys a sense of what we have in here. And I do have to say again, I was very happy with the quality of the artwork in the base game, and this is definitely no exception. I'm very happy with the quality of the artwork that we have in here. Hopefully you guys can see some of the level of detail on these, as well as just the artistic choices and creativity that has gone into this, which is quite good. Well, that one's spooky. Nice. So we have these, which we're going to move off to the side. Now we're going to crack into this at the very bottom. So the good thing is this comes with its own lid, by the look of things. Yep. Oh, and it is taped up at the bottom, so we need to make sure we get rid of that without hopefully doing anything. Move this off. We have one more tape here. One more tape there. I don't know if you guys got that in the background or not. We have a bit of a thunderstorm brewing here in Toronto, so that's the noise that you guys can potentially hear in the background if you are catching that. Right, so these are the 4 different markers that go on that action space, and this is definitely a nice upgrade from the cardboard that you get in there, so that's good. So we're going to get 4 of these. I'm not going to go through all 4 of them, but should hopefully give you a good sense of what those are. Now I believe that there are certain gods that come with uses for these styles, so it's going to make a little bit more sense once I can go through those different gods in here. But these look very, very nice, I do have to say. Again, these are plastic. These are not metal, despite the fact that you have this sheen on them, but it does give it a nice, a very nice effect on it. So I'm very happy with how this looks. Next up, we have these 3, which correspond to the water regions, I think. Maybe, I don't know, but they are god specific. So that's there. And again, plastic, but very nice effect overall, and certainly looks striking in person. So that's good. I do remember that these were cardboard tiles in the base game box itself, but it looks like now you get a sort of like a 3D plastic tile for this, which is definitely a very, very nice upgrade in here. We get some bases, so that's pretty standard. Now we get these follower tokens, and when I first saw this online, my first impression was I don't remember having metal follower tokens in the game, and you don't. These are actually plastic, but they do look nice, and they do look like metal from sort of like, even from up close. It's only when you're holding it and you can sense the heft or the lack of it that you know that these are plastic and not metal. But these look really, really nice. Really, really nice. They look as good in person as they might be looking in the video. So that's a good sign, and you get a whole bag of them. Definitely a good upgrade to have over the cardboard followers you get in the base game. So that's these guys. Now you get these pyramid tokens, which are just small cardboard pieces in the base game. But again, definitely one of the upgrades you will appreciate once you have in here. And you also have the notch where you can put in the player tokens on in here, which should be enough space for you to include the ones for from the Divine Offerings box as well. These are the upgraded temples. Again, with the notch for the player token. Good level of detail for something of that size. Not great, but definitely good. Very happy with how it looks. And then we have the obelisk as well. So these are very, very quite decent. I'm very happy with how all of these look. And then we have these. So these are sort of like the tokens that go on the devotion track. But of course, if you have the Divine Offerings box, you will have your cardboard pieces replaced with these plastic ones as well. These also are plastic pieces that give you that metal look, as it were. Yeah, so this is where you're sort of like resolving the conflict on the different on the game board, and again, an upgrade for the cardboard pieces in the base game. And then you have these, which are specific to the individual gods, as well as the conflict marker that goes around the game board. Very nice. And again, not metal. These are all plastic, but they all look very, very nice. And yeah, very, very happy with how all of these have turned out. Right? Okay. So now let's move all of these to the side. And we can bring in the miniature square and have a look at what's inside that. So let's do that right now. All right, here we go. Nice. And again, you get a lid, which is always very definitely appreciated. And hopefully we'll get to see the fantastic quality of the miniatures continue in this box as well. And at first glance, judging by the look of things, I think we do. Very nice. Again, good level of detail for miniatures of the size for a board game as opposed to an RPG, I suppose. But to at least my eyes, which are untrained in the world of tabletop miniature games and whatnot, these look as good as anything I would expect. Yeah, and hopefully you can catch the sound of the thunder in the background there as well. It's unboxing with sound effects, as it were. Very nice. Everything looks good so far. I'm going to start going a little faster with the rest of these in the interest of time. Good level of detail in the base as well, which is nice. If you're somebody who's into painting miniatures, this is going to do very nicely for you. And then these guys are, of course, specific to the gods you'll be playing with, which is why we have them colored in here. And then we have the pieces for the last set of guys in here. And they're pretty consistently good across the board, so that's always a good positive to have or something like this. Right, so that takes care of this tray in here. So let's move this off to the side. Now we get to see the big stuff in here, and it looks like we get a pedestal of some sort or a stand. Interesting. All right, we'll come to the gods at the very end, and this dude looks suitably. Well, put this in. There we go. So this one looks suitably impressive. So we'll come to that maybe at the near the end as well. So let's start from the top here. Yeah, a hippo that wears a crocodile for headgear is nothing to be scoffed at. Very nice. He looks more like a dwarf than anything else. Let's look at this guy next. Yeah, this is really, really good. Really nicely done. Well, I'll figure out how that one goes then later on. Let's move on to this guy. And again, good level of detail with the stuff that's on the base there. Yeah, you would not want to cross paths with this guy. All right, so now we have these last three guys in here. Let's have a look at this optional extra guardian, and this is an impressive miniature for sure. I mean, it's bigger than my hand, so I can't even provide the proper background for this, but I'm just going to zoom in and you guys can hopefully see the amazing level of detail that's in here. This is a very, very nice, a very impressive piece right there. This, if I remember correctly, was Sobek. And this was Ta or Pata, depending on whatever the correct pronunciation is. Maybe you guys can correct me in the comment section if you know what the correct pronunciation should be like. Yeah, this is good stuff. And I think we've seen everything that's in this one, right? Yeah, so I think we've gone through the whole box at this point. So that's all the stuff that comes in the Tomb of Wonders. Again, the quality continues to be quite good, strong, and I would even go as far as to say stellar. The miniatures are particularly impressive, at least to my eye. Very good level of detail artistically and in terms of the production quality itself. And if you do enjoy the base game, which hopefully I will get to try out my first game tomorrow, there's a lot of good stuff in here to keep you happy for a while. And with that, that's everything that comes in the box for Tomb of Wonders. Again, I'll have other unboxing videos for other Ankh boxes, and the links for them hopefully will be down below as well. So check those out if you're interested in those. And I will have the tutorial for this up soon as well. So you might want to consider staying subscribed to the channel if you want to be updated on when those come in, as well as other unboxings and tutorials and reviews and whatnot. But in the meanwhile, thanks for watching, and I will see you at the next one. Take care.